Okay, welcome everyone. This is gonna be a new build for me. I'm starting an Imperial merchant. She's going to be living in Lakeview Manor, and this run will be a Deadestead one. So, here we go. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be heading down to Falkreath. We're going to try and pick up some juniper berries and wheat for our alchemy skill. Going to be making a couple of poisons, as well as garlic and salt. These are some pretty cheap options in terms of ingredients, just to make a little bit extra gold on the side. We're also going to be trying to be pacifist, not necessarily going to stick to that as a rule. If our life is ending up being threatened by anything, then we will be forced to retaliate, as it were, but for the most case we're not going to be looking to start any fights or getting into combat otherwise without some help and protection from some followers. Alright, Falkreath, finally got in touch with the Jarl here. He's gonna go ahead and send us on a little bit of a fetch quest. More or less gonna be a DoorDash delivery for him. Don't think that we're gonna get a tip from this guy.
I hate people who waste my time. Come and see me again.
We're also gonna go ahead and pick up a bounty contract. Just gonna put us a little bit further ahead when we do end up being asked to become the Thane of Falkreath.
Here, take a look at this decree. Let's sate that appetite.
Naturally, you can complete the Black Pyramid fetch quest for Jarl Siggeir just by walking a couple of yards down the road to the local tavern and buying a bottle there. Easy stuff.
Much about the war and the storm. Now that's what I like to see. Someone who gets things done. Here, a little something for you.
Again, just picking up as many quests as we can while we're here in Falkreath. Kind of get a little bit of a head start when we do end up being asked to become the Thane. As we already own property in the hold, this means we will just have to assist 3 or 5 different people. I don't exactly remember.
Willingly gave up his existence. Strangers like you bring war.
And finally, our first combat encounter. Absolutely unprepared. Kind of pinched between a wolf and a necromancer here. Gonna see how this plays out. Home sweet home. I figured that I would be safe here. Eventually, I know that wolves do not have opposable thumbs, and therefore they cannot open the door to my house. So I should be alright. And especially since I'm able to rest here, this led me to believe that walking outside of my own home, I would be safe. I choose not to pick up the weapon that I have at my disposal quite yet, and because we are running anniversary mode, we have survival mode turned on here just so that I can't necessarily exploit any kind of waiting or sleeping mechanics just to be able to profit off of waiting long amounts of time for things like crops. Or later, when we end up getting married, shop owners who actually have an unlimited amount of gold and Requiem that they can generate as long as you leave them there to do so. I also finally get into my first couple of potions and poisons that I'm brewing here. walking outside thinking that I'm safe, but naturally hearing the chicken get absolutely murdered by this wolf here, and I end up having to run back inside to grab my iron mace. After grabbing my mace, heading down to the front porch and exiting combat, for some reason I decided to put my mace away, but walking outside, this proved to be a mistake, as I was promptly almost 3-shot by this very low level creature. But as the saying goes, fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me 2 times, you can't get fooled again. So I grabbed the iron mace by the little snippet that's pointing out of the glass here, and even try to buffer an attack before I exit the door here. Not sure if that's actually possible, trying to get a little bit of a stun off on this wolf for a 3rd time, almost dying to one of the weakest creatures in the game, before finally prevailing, pulling his heart out, and making my way on down to Markarth. Juniper berries are pretty important in most of my playthroughs that include alchemy. When you mix them with wheat, you create a semi-valuable poison that you can sell to merchants for about 30 gold, 30 to 40 depending on what kind of perks you have in the early game. Once I get into Markarth here, I'm headed over to the Hag's Cure so that I can hopefully pick up a little bit of wheat and maybe a healing potion so I can finally get rid of this annoying heartbeat noise. Unfortunately, I do not realize that it is about 1 o'clock in the morning right now, and Hag's Cure is not open. So I eventually make my way over to the Silver Blood Inn so that I can rent a room, get myself a little bit of sleep, and be prepared for the coming days. I'm also able to pick up a little bit of salt here from Klepper. I will be combining this with garlic, as I mentioned previously, so that I can continue to level my alchemy skill. So we make it down to the Hag's Cure bright and early in the morning. I'm finally able to pick ourselves up a healing poultice as well as a couple of different ingredients that we will find useful later in the game.
The Hag's Cure is here for all your discreet needs. Ah, so you're an alchemist then.
Climb and back, and we'll be off.
The gameplay loop here in the early game is going to be a little bit monotonous, just traveling back and forth from Lakeview Manor to Whiterun and maybe one other hold so that we can gather the ingredients that we need while we simultaneously wait for the crops at home to grow. We will be using most of the gold that we generate here to fund our later adventures. We may end up just buying most of the equipment that we want to give to our followers, who naturally will be dealing with any kind of threats that we end up facing in the later game. So here, after getting rid of the heartbeat ASMR, go ahead and craft a couple of these potions just so we have something to trade when we get into Whiterun. Now, unfortunately, we will have to be leaving behind our furry friend, at least in the meantime, as we generate enough gold to be able to purchase a follower. Taking a moment to do a little bit of trading here outside of Whiterun. We are not prejudiced against the Khajiit in this playthrough. After this, we head on inside to Whiterun to talk to Arcadia, where we will actually not have enough gold to purchase the ingredients that we came here for. Now, this doesn't pose too much of a problem, as the juniper berries and wheat that we will be purchasing from her cost 4 septims apiece here in the early game. We just head over to the alchemy station after that and craft a potion that is easily worth about 5 times as much as we've paid for it. Now, naturally, this isn't going to be giving us bundles of cash, but it will be enough for us to purchase the ingredients that we came here for. Unfortunately, after doing this process, I guess the Skyrim gods got mad at me and decided to crash my game. So, for now, that's going to be the end of this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.